here we are again. On today's 30-minute mechanic, this is part 2 of sealing up the intake and trying to fix our little oil leak along our china wall. So the intake manifold's clean. It's ready to go back in. So buckle up. Let's go. All right, here we are, part 2. It's where we put it back together. So what we've done, we stuck a bunch of paper towels, which I'm actually cheap enough that I'm going to reuse these because they were clean when I stuck them in there, in the intake ports. Just to keep rogue things from falling in. Not that there's a lot of rogue things flying around in my shop, but you never know. I've got everything cleaned up pretty well. That one's kind of torn up. Got everything cleaned up. Intake's clean, block's clean. I had a great idea yesterday that I need to 3D print a distributor plug. So when I pull the distributor out, I have something I can just stick right down into the distributor hole. I need to make a plug. So if you have it out, you can stick something in there to keep stuff from falling in. Now we're going to try to get our paper towels out without dumping little bits of silicone or RTV down in the engine valley. We did pretty good job of that. A few little bits, but we'll take care of those. You probably can't even see them because they're teeny tiny on the back wall back there. All right. That part is ready to go. Cleaned it up good with brake clean yesterday. So let's go get our RTV and our new gaskets, and then I'll show you a big block Ford trick I do. All right, here's the trick. The trick is to take a piece of threaded rod or whatever and screw it into these middle holes. Hey, look at that. Thing puked oil out when I did that. It stinks. I have to clean it up. I bet the other one's going to do the same thing. Yep. I don't know if that's oil or brake clean. At least it's oil. Okay, so we put a couple pieces of threaded rod in there, and that gives us something to aim at when you're putting the intake on. Because sometimes it's when you're setting that intake over there, it's hard to, you get it too far back this way and then you got to slide it forward, or you just you miss. So if I have the studs there, it gives me something to aim for with the holes in the intake that are easy to see. So that's my trick. It also helps hold the gaskets in place. Let's go grab the gaskets. All right, got our Cometic gaskets. This is the first time I've ever run Cometics. I've always run a Mr. gasket, like 206A or 208A or something. But they're hard to come by, and the last time I had some Felpros on there that I didn't really like them so much. So this time I went with Cometics. Of course, Cometic brand gaskets have a pretty good reputation. Sometimes you lose your scale when you're dealing with. I wouldn't say lose scale, but people don't realize just how big block stuff is. And I mean, just for scale, that's my can of brake clean. That's basically the same size as that port. So if you look at your can of brake clean, look at it and go, dang, that's basically a big block Ford size port. Okay, now the beauty of using the little stud is it helps keep the gasket in place. I'm going to RTV them, but I need to get, I'm going to RTV around the ports, but I wanted to make sure they were going to fit just right before I did anything. So yeah, you know what? Let's make sure there's not a, okay. I didn't think there was a head side and an intake side, but you never know. You always got to kind of pay attention. Weirder things have happened. All right, got our ultra black gasket maker. And quite literally, I don't know what the difference in the colors of RTV is. Yeah, you get something blue, except the copper. I know the copper's high heat, but black, gray, blue, you know, I don't know what the difference is. So I picked black this time. And slip that out for a second. We're going to daub some, get a few more pieces of blue out of there. Maybe on that side too. That's fine. All right, we're going to daub some around this port. And you don't have to go crazy with this. I just kind of go around the port, make a nice little bead, kind of a flat bead. Because it's going to squish. It's going to get squished. And an RTV will help hold the gasket in place. Kind of glue it in place there. Get that off my finger. Okay, what do I do with the other gasket? Let's do the other side. Well, I've seen some guys. I've taken motors apart where people have put RTV around the intake ports and everything. You want to talk about a mess. That is a mess. That back a little bit. Okay, other gasket. Set it on there. Slide it down. Stick it in place. These head gaskets don't have a really big lip to hold the gasket up like some of them do. Some of them have a real big tab right there. These just barely have a tab. Okay, that part is done. Let's get with, and this part I'll probably do with my finger. So I can be kind of gentle, so I don't move it around too much. Next one. And the back one on this side. All right. Now comes the part where we get to, here comes the part we don't want to screw up. Because apparently we've screwed it up before. We want to put us a nice, big, fat bead all along that china wall. We'll start at the back and then do the one in the front. Because both ends of this intake have leaked. And that just is irritating. I'm going to kind of squirt that down. Get in my light where I can't see. I'm going to kind of press it down for that first layer. Built that up pretty good there. And this is the trouble spot right here is where this problem happened. I'm just going to mush that in with my finger good. Now I've got it all over my finger. Okay. Second layer. And this, whoa, just had a giant air bubble in the tube, like almost completely collapsed. Like I'm going to use a whole tube of this. I guess maybe not, but. Okay, we've made a big one. Okay. Intake time. This is the hard part because it's heavy and I got to lean way over. But, whoa, I do have the things to aim with. So it drops straight down. Wink. Just like that. Mooch that around. There we go. Yay. Intake's on. Now, this is the part I never remember, is which bolts go where. Short bolts, short bolts. Some of these are longer. Maybe two. Hold on, I don't know. There. That one started there. Go to the back. Corner right there. And then this one will go right there when we'll wait on it. Get this other side done. One, two. Let's see. This one there. This one right here. Maybe. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. And then long one, longish one, right here. And then this one right here. Okay. Okay. All of our bolts are started. Now, where's my socket? There it is. I don't know 100% know the proper sequence for doing these. I've always kind of snugged down the verticals. And then gone back and done the other ones. I don't know if that's proper, but it's always worked for me as far as intake goes, intake leaks. As far as sealing the ports, I should say, maybe not. Can't believe I put that wrench on the right direction the first time. Okay. And I may have read that on the internet somewhere. I don't remember. Because, you know, everything on the internet is true. Back here. Okay. It's fine. What do I do with the wrench? I just had it. Here it is. Let's go ahead and snug these down. Yeah, doing the vertical ones first. I always felt like you needed to you needed to suck the intake down with the vertical ones and then tighten up the other ones. Otherwise, if you tighten up the side ones, the intake may not be down all the way like it should be. That's the logic that's happening in my brain. But then again, I'm not an engineer. I'm just a dude that likes to play with cars and make sappy videos for YouTube. Fingers. Okay. We're going to go back around with the verticals, snug them pretty well, and we're going to call them torqued. Torquing, 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 torquing. Here's the last one. Torquing. Okay. Now we're going to do torquing. Jump over to that one. Yeah. Corners. Probably should have done these inside to out, but who cares? We'll double check them after we fire it up. Let it heat cycle a couple times. Okay. Snug. 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 If you can see the sweat dripping off of me, but there's a lot of it. And you don't want to go crazy with these because they're screwing into aluminum. We all know how great aluminum threads are. Not great. Snug. Snug. Okay, that part is done. Intake, back on. Woo! Oh, let's check one more. We checked them all except for that one. Okay. All right, intake's on. Next, let's put it back together in the reverse order of what we did the other day. Oh no, don't fall back there. A water temp gauge deal, which is 5/8, because I've taken it apart so many times, I know. That's snug. Keep just laying tools on the floor because I don't have any place for them. Vacuum hose for the brakes. And I guess the carburetor is next. Right? Am I missing anything? Nope, carburetor next. Oh, I didn't get a stud for this. Dang. I meant to go to the store today and get a stud, and I completely forgot. Okay, on to the carburetor. Stick it on there. Going on. Cable. Bracket. There we go. Had to modify a couple of these washers with a flat spot because you try to put them on and they would hit the mixture screws, the idle mixture screws, which was really irritating. Okay, that part is there. Let me get that in a second. Find my other carburetor nut. Washer, nut. And it wouldn't be a problem, except my studs are really long. Oops, can't do that yet. Accelerator pump works. I don't know if you saw that. I just bumped it and it. And I didn't change how I had the plate on there. And the reason for that is the plate, I had to put a notch in that plate to clear. This has a 50cc accelerator pump on the secondary side. So I had to put a little notch in the plate to clear that. And so I already had the notch there, so I'm not going to change anything. Where is that bolt? Snug that one. That one. I've been very happy with the Brawler. This is actually one of the very few, and I still need that, few brand new carburetors I've ever bought. I think I've only bought like 3 carburetors in my life that were brand new. Everything else was secondhand. Where is the hole? Can't get my hand in there. Everything else has been used, and then I, went through them and rebuilt them. Probably the best rebuild was the 1050, the Dominator I did. It was a 3-circuit carburetor. I converted it to a 2-circuit, and then put some adjustable I made the transition circuit, I made it adjustable, and with the help of some guys on the internet, they gave me some bass tunes as far as what jet size, well, really not what jet size, but what air bleed size and all that stuff to put in it. And man, that thing worked good. Worked really good, in fact. Okay, carburetor's on. Move our box now. And gosh, I wish I had a stud for that. So you know what I might do? This might turn into a 3-parter because kind of out of time and I don't have my stud for my carburetor. What do I do with that wrench? Just going to go ahead and hook up the fuel line. One extra little thing here. Oops. Leaking. See, that's why I put that cap on there. Where's my fuel line? That's why I put the cap on there. Great. That's way more gas than I really wanted to dump on that. Oh well. It'll dry. You get a rag to facilitate that. As long as I didn't run it off on any of the RTV that is still damp. That would be not a good situation. Okay, carb hooked back up. Okay, that's going to do it for now. Got a pretty good. Looking down in there, you got to. I'll just let you see. All right, you can see carburetor's back on, intake's back on. Got a pretty good squish in there. Mushed the RTV out good, so I feel like I got a good seal on it this time. Hooray! All right, it's going to do it for 30-minute mechanic today. Part 2's done. Got the intake back on. Got the carburetor back on. Cleaning up the intake took a lot longer than I anticipated. So I didn't have enough time today to get the distributor put back in, but that's okay because I never did go get a stud to put in the block there to hold the distributor down to make that a whole lot easier. So check out the description, check out my friends' channels, but for now, like, subscribe, ring the bell, tell your friends. What am I doing with my hands? We'll see you next time. Bye.